Hi, I'm Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker and author of Soul Trader, Putting the Heart Back into Your Business.
Hi, I'm Julio Graham. I'm a business coach and a consultant. Welcome to this first of our Soul System Success series. And today we're going to dive straight into the soul bit. So Rasheed, you're on the fire.
I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
And I think in terms of the series, if we're looking at the fundamentals of where people start, I mean, soul and business is a really new concept for a lot of people. How do people even know that they've got to have soul in their business?
Because we've experienced it in so many ways. Maybe it is you're listening to this, you've been employed, maybe it is you're running your own business, maybe you're listening to this, you're an artist, maybe you run an organisation. And maybe you've had the experience, is my heart in this? Does this chime with me? Does it resonate? Does it feel right for me? That's the starting point of the soul. Why am I here? Am I excited? Am I really motivated? But there's so many different dimensions here, Julia, of the soul. Some people might have a very strong sense of things that they're passionate about or their sense of purpose. So for me, this soul bit is that why am I here? Are you doing your life's work? Maybe you're running an organisation. Other people are coming to you in the organisation. Are they really motivated? Do they care? Why are you running it? If you don't know why you're doing something, the chances is there's not going to be a motivation. If you're running an organisation, people are motivated, you're in trouble. If you're your own boss, you're going to have to know that why of what you're doing something. And what you're doing is not in the abstract. There are other souls, there are other people who are connecting with that. So you need to know that why.
Aren't we just running businesses to make money?
Some people, there might be some people, there might be some people. No, but it's great. No, but it's great. I think there will be some people who are. But even that, I'm making it money for what? Because I care about my family. I wanted to take care of my family. But you ask a good point there, because we need to know why. What is it that I'm doing this? Is it to escape from that job before? Is it because of this, to make money, or what have you? But the moment that there are any people involved in your business, and that might just be customers or other people, they're going to want to know why. Why are you in this? The first thing I have a look, or somebody drops me a line, I look at who are they, I research them. Who are they? Why are they doing that? Why are you doing it? The business has also changed over the last 15, 20, 25 years. Ethical business, sustainable business, eco-friendly, these terms, fair trade, all of these kind of things, where's the money coming from? And this is, customers, so many different people want to know those whys.
Okay.
And we see issues at all levels where, if we talk about the world that we're in at the moment, and we're filming this out of London, there have been questions recently over the last few weeks about certain businesses, their business practices, whether they're taking care of their shareholders, whether they're taking care about their customers, whether their staff are treated adequately, do people can have pensions and so on, through to the leadership of the country, why are people leaving? All of these questions have a soul dynamic of why. Why are we here? What's really important? Are we treating people right? These are the very practical levels of the heart and the soul.
So I mean, what you, and I'm just feeding back to you, I mean, what you're saying there, in the business world, we sort of talk about good corporate governance, etc. And what you're saying is that this soul part is an integral part of how you approach business ethically, because if people understand what your purpose is and why you're doing these things, if they buy that, if they actually buy into that, then it goes a long way to doing proper business, as opposed to just doing business for the sake of making money for whatever.
Absolutely, and on an individual level, let's start with this, with a very individual level. I'm not going to get out of bed for any consistent period of time without me knowing what that's about. So the soul element, and it's interesting, I want to even touch on that word soul here, but as you're listening to this, the word soul may chime with you, the word heart, purpose, and all of these things, these different words. How we're wired is that we all have a different take on why we're here, what life is about.
Yeah.
And very often people will come to a point in their life where they're wondering, well, why am I here? What is this about? So the soul question does need to be explored, because at different stages, for example, let's take a business, somebody might be feeling, oh, well, do I want to change my career? Do I want to do this? Or is this feeling right for me anymore? That this purpose bit is really important. For some people listening to this, They may be people like myself. They were creative and artists, and so the purpose, the heart is everything. So for me, if I put on my hat of being a singer, it's all about the soul. It's all about connecting. I've got to make a sound. I've got to sing a song and interpret it and deliver it in a way that chimes with you. I know that when we were preparing this, you were talking about the fact that you paint. Painting is of the soul. Somebody might, when they start into business, they might think, well, this means nothing to me, but they're running a big business, but they might thought, the reason why I ran this business was because I wanted something in my family for this. I can think of a client of mine who the soul word wouldn't necessarily chime with him, but if you get him to talk about why he runs his business, he's got 2 little girls and he wants them to be able to have life opportunities and so on. So sometimes with the heart, the soul, we need to do a little bit of digging around to find out why, or if a business is stuck. The business is a problem often with the soul of the business. The business might say, well, what are you about? They've lost their identity. They don't know what they're about. Yeah. That's the soul.
Okay.
That's got a lot to do with the soul.
So this is a fundamental piece of a successful business, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay. It is, and I find that when people know what the things that people come to me as a business coach and life coach, they're often wanting is motivation. There's a number of things they want: motivation, direction, clarity, and confidence, in a way that these are all aspects of the heart of the soul. Because if I know who I am, if I know what I'm about and what I'm here to do, then I will do my life's work. And it's also very crucially important. Very often there will come those moments in life, in career, what happened with, what have you, that some very serious things that may come along. There may be ill health, there may well be a bereavement, there may be this, or there may well be that. And those are the moments when we need to ask ourselves, why is it that we're doing? And I just before this talk today just recorded a newsletter, and it's just so happened in this last month that a couple of wonderful business clients of mine, they passed away. Fortunately for both of them, contacts of mine, they were doing their life's work.
Yes.
One in the room of film, they loved their work. Somebody else in a similar field to me. So, excuse me, this stuff is very important, and we forget it until those serious moments. It shouldn't be one of those serious moments. Or again, I might be a very successful entrepreneur, and then something will come along, and I'm asking myself, well, what's all of this stuff about? Where there might be a crisis in my own field in entertainment, lots of successful singers, and then problems will come along and they burn out and so on. That soul bit. So the soul is one of the things that will sustain you. It will give you that. It makes you clear why you're doing it. It's a joy, the fulfillment bit. Without that soul bit, there's no fulfillment, because I might be running a successful business or organisation or leading a team, but those people may not be motivated. I might not be able to speak to them. I might not be able to speak to my clients or really connect with them. When an organisation or an individual knows what their soul is, the motivation is there, the clarity, the destination is there, and people are prepared to put in the perspiration and the effort.
So let's say I buy what you're saying, and I do, and let's hope our viewers understand what we're talking about. How do we go about identifying or even starting to explore this concept of soul in business with us? Because I come from a sort of more of an engineering systems background, and things that are slightly abstract, they worry us. They worry people like me, and so when someone walks into my office and says to me, "Look, you've got to have a bit more soul," I say, "Yes, brother." Moving right along, because I'm not a reggae shop, or there's all of that talk.
Or it seems wishy-washy or airy-fairy, or is it all way woo-woo, way out there too spiritual, something, or what have you.
Exactly. So what are those? I mean, I know a lot of people have problems with. And feel things like about what is my purpose and all those things. But in modern society, sometimes there doesn't seem to be a space in the workplace for that sort of thing.
And there's so much that you're saying there that's really powerful for us and useful. The first thing to say is that language is important here. Might be even the word soul may not chime with you. The word heart might. The word purpose, reason, rationale. All these things will point to what's at the core here. So. If somebody's very logical, then the outcome, the objective, or why you're doing it might be the starting place. But equally, there might be somebody who's watching this who is very intuitive, and the word soul is very much their starting point. So I'd say the first thing is to sit with what word is it that most chimes with you. But even if you're the most ardent, logical person, you've got to know why are you here, or what's the purpose, what's the organisation, and so on. So in a way, it's the same question: why am I here?
Yes.
Why am I here as an individual? Why am I here as an organisation or as a business? That's the starting point. And so it's that bit that it allows us to step back and be clear who we are. Now, then the question is, Julia, it depends for whoever's listening to this, how deep does that person want to go?
Yes.
Why am I here on this planet?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is only at those serious moments that I have to ask those questions. In a fair economy or on a fair day when lots of things are going well, I don't need to ask myself those questions. But at certain times where there may be big change in the economy, new people come to the market, organisations have to ask themselves the deep question, why? The same thing on an individual level. When serious things happen, there are bereavements, there's separation, there's this or that. I've got to ask myself, why am I here? Or that there's ill health. Why am I here?
Yeah.
What's life about? Now, to answer those questions, my tip, first of all, is somebody to really take that time and that space to sit with that. You may be somebody of a, you may be spiritually worked up, so for you, you might be drawn to certain texts or books or philosophers or what have you, or humanists or whatever, that might be that you go into that way. Or you might well be somebody far more logically minded. It might be the reason, it might be making a purpose, making an impact, and so on. So sometimes people might have that soul bit which they're even unaware of it, or that there's another bit of them outside of the business where they care about charities or doing this or doing that or what have you. So somebody might meet you, for example, and think, okay, here's a really skilled and sound, experienced consultant and so on. But they don't know you care, you're involved in charity, supporting them and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So often we have these other dimensions to us, and often when people get stuck, it's because there's only one bit of them that's allowed to be and breathe. I've met many people, CEOs and so on, but there's another part of who it is that they are that doesn't, so people meet them as that, and not that whole human being that they actually are.
You've actually just brought a thought to my mind, is you were talking about alternative words for the soul, and as you were talking, I was thinking, well, this is more like my values, and my corporation's values. And then this brings us to another interesting dilemma, and almost paradox in some sense, is that often there are people who have individual values, but their corporation's values are almost in conflict,
Right.
and they have to. I mean, I'm assuming that brings a lot of strife. And I mean, is this stuff that you're finding?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so it's absolutely, so for the individual right up to the organisation. So for the individual, the first thing is what's really important, why am I here, what's really important to me, what are my values, either asking those questions or directly or subconsciously it's kind of going on. Does this organisation feel right for me? This job that I'm in, does it feel right for me? Are they valuing me? So do I feel valued? Do I feel where that those are ways into those kind of values kind of themes? So it will happen for the individual, and often that's why people start an organisation or leave an organisation, because they don't feel that their heart is in it, it doesn't feel right for them, or they're being honoured and so on. So you're absolutely right. But also the organisation needs to be very aware of that and what are the values of the individuals. And an organisation is a lot of individuals, and so a shrewd organisation, and we're going to come on to the success talk in time, will need to be aware of what their values, what the values of people that are coming to work for us, and what values do we want for people to have. If those values are right, then things can work. I can think of an example. Recently, a contact of mine, they got funding even for their business from, they got some funding, and that was great, but they realised that people working with them didn't have their values, they weren't getting it, so they feel let down, disappointed,
disenchanted. Conflict as well.
Yeah, there's that. And again, if you think about it from ourselves as buyers or whatever, as consumers, there are organisations who we feel they haven't listened to us, whatever, all of this stuff to the soul is their heart. Is their heart? Do people care? For me, ultimately, the challenge I set, for example, when I read the book Soul Trader, is do you care about your customers, or do you just care about the cash? Do you genuinely care? What is it that you genuinely care about? So that heart bit has to be in place, either just for you to be motivated or to find it fulfilling.
Yes.
But also there is that element about your customers. Otherwise, the customers sooner or later will leave you.
You're absolutely. Once again, I mean, I'm thinking about some of the literature that's being taught in the universities today. They often talk about connecting with your customer at a value level or at the customer's level. And if a customer feels that you care about them, a lot of people are saying in terms of the marketing, they're saying that you need to win over a customer to sort of care about what you're doing, and the profits will look after themselves. I mean, we always used to look at, what's your debt equity ratio and all these things, but those things, whilst they're important, they seem to become, they're just little outputs, they're not outcomes. Yes. They're not about being happy, they're not about having happy customers, they're not about changing the world in a positive way. Yes. And what you're saying, what I'm hearing what you're saying is that a lot of the soul things that you talk about and the awareness of your soul in the business, or your values, or any
Yes.
of these things that you're talking about.
Yes.
It's really important that you're actually doing work on that.
Absolutely.
So how would someone go about working on their soul, or their values, or their heart? As you
Well, two things. I think the first thing, for the person who's very logical and wondering, does this chime with me? From a purely commercial point of view, I have to, again in the book I touch on the three things. In sight, in mind, in heart. What do I mean by that? For a successful business, a successful organisation, or to be an artist, and whatever it is, a therapist, whatever it is you're doing, whatever level it is, you need to be in sight. People need to be able to see you or be able to search if they find you. But you need to be in mind. The bit in mind means you need to be saying things that chime with them. But then the last bit, the last stage, the deepest stage is in heart. They so love what you do.
Yeah.
It so speaks to them that they buy from you. Let's face it, at the end of the day, there are thousands of other consultants, therapists, estate agents, accountants and whatever. Why are people going to come to you? People expect that you're good. They're going to keep coming to you time and time again because they love your product. There's something about the furniture that you produce that speaks to their heart.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're talking now. How does somebody go on that journey? It's going to be different for each individual person.
Yeah.
For some people, it will be that quiet contemplation. There's be some people listening to this, Julio, and they're at a point of transition.
Right.
They'd be listening to this and thinking, actually, I want to be my own boss. I want to do my own thing. So they're at that journey. So I'd say this is going to be really useful for you to think about, because then when you start building a business, you're going to be able to pick the right people for you who also share your values or you feel safe with at heart, because otherwise how else will you pick? Part of the picking process will be with your heart. But there'll be people, perhaps many people watching this, they're already in businesses or they're growing their own businesses and so on. I think that the process for this is that, first of all, is your heart in what you're doing? Does it feel right for you? What are the things that nourish you? So it could be quite simple. One of the first things I'd say to people is that spend time out in nature. Spend some time out in nature, walking through the park, by the river, whatever it is that nourishes you. Maybe that you enjoy painting, maybe you enjoy music. Spend that time to connect and ask yourself what's really most important to you. Maybe just write down what's most important to you in life, career, business. What's most dear to you. Once you're aware what's most dear to you, you'll kind of become aware of why is it you're doing it. Why am I? Write down why is it that I'm doing this? And what is really then is coming from the heart, you can then begin to explore something successful. What would success look like for me? Mm-hmm. Okay, happy home, this. That simplifies the journey. The win from the soul is it simplifies the journey. You know who you are, you know why you're doing it.
Okay.
I'm doing this because I care about this, because I want to make a difference there. It will give you the fuel that you need, but being still and silent. For some people it's going to be about meditation, for some people it's contemplation, for some people it's just time away, or the time away from what you're doing will clarify. And is what I'm doing at the moment, does it chime with me, does it sit with me, or is it jarring with me? If it's things that you're doing at the moment jar with you, that for me is your heart calling, speaking to you about what are you really about, what feels dearest to you in your heart.
So you hear people saying, that's it, I've had enough, and I've seen this in my own industry where consultants, someone I know, consultant for 20-25 years, went away for a year, came back, said, that's it, I'm never going to be a consultant again, I've had enough, and he's an anaesthetist now, So his heart was clearly calling him in a completely different direction.
Completely. There's so many people. Let's take, how many businesses are born from where somebody has worked somewhere, doesn't speak for them, or that there's a whole new generation now of people who have never worked for an organisation, they go straight to business.
Yes.
This doesn't chime with me, this is what I want to do. There's something linked to their skills and their talents or their callings, because if we take it on a human being level, there's a human being with their characteristics, with their qualities and so on, with their personality, and there are certain gifts, things that often they're good at. Maybe you're always good at logical thinking, or maybe you could always play the piano. Everybody has those basic gifts. The gifts are honed into talents, and the talents are the things that one is to share with the world. So I would say from an energetic, and it will be interesting when we come on to talk to you about systems, from an energetic kind of point of view, there's a systemic thing that what is it that I'm good at? And so that there can be a challenge. If I am really good at singing and dancing, but I'm doing something over here, then I'm not doing what my heart is really calling to me to. So there is a natural link here between what resonates with you, what chimes with you, what your skills and your talents are. And let's even take your inner business. You're a manager and you've got people in your team. Find out what it is that they're good at. One of the breakthroughs in my life and my career was when I was employed. And I worked in media, and my boss realised I loved the bits that had to do with training and development. He made me responsible for the training and development programme. That trained people to be on TV and radio, and I loved the TV and radio bit, and he let me train to be media trainer and to appear on TV and radio for the organisation. That was the birthplace of me being a coach.
Yeah.
But it spoke to all the things, being a performer, being all these things. So often there'll be a number of different seeds to who it is that you are, that by giving yourself that space you become clear, what are my gifts, what are my talents, what is most aligned to my heart, and then you will find that you'll do them. Practically it means that you're going to be doing something you love. If you've got staff who are doing that, there's going to be less likely to be any absenteeism on every level. On every single level, people are going to be far more motivated. On every single metric you can imagine, that there's going to be a benefit. But people think that the hard stuff is just fluffy.
Yeah.
But talk to them about other things that they're passionate about, they spring to life. Business and the organisation and who you are not so far apart.
Yes. Okay, now, you're clearly very enthusiastic about this, but I'm going to have to stop here.
Good, yes.
Because we've got about 2 minutes left or so. So I think maybe if you could summarise for us, people who are comfortable with the soul, they obviously understand a lot more of what you're doing. The people who aren't so comfortable with the soul talking that we're talking now, what can they look out for? What can they do and go away and practice before the next time we talk to them, so that they can reconnect with their soul or their values or whatever it is? What is there a practical exercise someone can do?
One, for the person who even this stuff chimes with them, it's one thing doing what you love for a living, it's another thing doing what you love with love. So the people who are already doing that, coming from that space, fall more into that. Be it, listen to your heart, listen to your instincts and so on, run with it. Let your business be run by that space and watch what happens. Watch what happens, because you've got to trust it. The people who are curious about this kind of stuff, spend some time with their loved ones, spend time doing the things that it is that you love, and really connect and share with people why you do what you do.
Okay.
Those would be my tips.
Okay.
Those would be my tips. That they will enrich you, first of all, that time with the loved ones and so on, that time doing the things that you love. It might be things outside the business, because it might well be that you yourself, the business owner, might need to be married. It might need to be nourished. I meet so many people, Julia, who are doing wonderful things, and often that what happens is that they're so busy caring for everyone else or running the business that they don't have that time for themselves. Okay. And actually the danger could be you could be doing something which is really wonderful, but you don't know, you haven't seen that impact, or you haven't stepped back into that. So that would be my tip. Time for you, time for
Rasheed, that is absolutely fantastic. So just to summarize, for those of you that are out there that are thinking of getting into the soul, understanding your soul more, understanding the soul for your business, Rasheed suggesting make some time for yourself. You might be caring for lots of people. You might have lots of people caring for you, but you still need to make some time for yourself.
And ultimately, why am I here? Ask yourself that question. Why am I here? What's most important to me?
That is fantastic. And Rasheed, I think the next session we're going to be talking about the system. It'll be your turn to give me a hard time.
I'm looking forward to that. And I think I just want to say one thing on that, Julia, before we close. I think that system bit, whoever it is that I am, whether I'm running a growing business, whether I'm starting out, simple tips to help people to understand the system is really powerful. So I'm so excited about that. Absolutely. There we have it. That means that we're out of time. It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. See you in the next video.
Thank you.
Thank you.